Today's webinar, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to save you, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years worth of time, some trial and error, and I'm also going to try to save you tens of thousands of dollars by showing you not only what works for capital raising, but also what doesn't work. Are you okay with that? Are you okay if I save you years and tens of thousands of dollars? Um, that's my goal today. So by the end of this, you will have, you'll know exactly what you need to do in order to have a process that's always raising capital for you. Sound good? All right. So before I dive into this, just a little bit more about me. If you've never met me before, my name is Stephen Lee Thomas. I've been in this syndication space in the multifamily side for almost 10 years now, for quite a while. It's been a great journey. I do this full time. I'm a full-time multifamily syndicator and investor. I am also an entrepreneur, a podcast host, and a coach as well. I help people learn how to do this exact thing. My partners and I raised over $70 million, done about 16 deals in that space for almost 10 years. And even right now, we've actually got a deal we're helping to raise capital on. It's about a $15 million raise for this deal. So I am in the weeds. I am doing this every day. So pay attention to what I'm going to share with you, because this is the stuff that works and also the stuff that doesn't work. Okay. Real quick, I just want to make sure that the chat is working. Can you all let me know where you're dialing in from today? Where are you calling in from? What part of the world are you located in? Let's see what we got here. We've got hi, as in, is that Hawaii, George? SoCal, Newport Beach. We got a couple of, we got a lot of beach people today. Vero Beach, Florida. I like it. So I'm out in California myself. Generally don't do much I should say generally don't. I don't do any investing here. Do all my investing. Most of it is actually in Texas. So good. We've got a good group here today. Um, and if you're in Hawaii, Greg, then I hope you've got a great view of the ocean, wherever you're at. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and move forward. So what I want to do first is I want to share with you, I've made some mistakes along the way, and I'm going to help you not make those same mistakes. I'm going to share with you the most common mistakes we see people make. And maybe you're doing some of these things, okay? And that's why I want to share them with you and I let you know it's not your fault, okay? If you're making some of these same mistakes, it is not your fault. What I found is that a lot of these programs are really good about showing you how to find a deal, and they tell you, hey, if you find the right deal, the money's going to come. And I'm here to tell you, it's bullshit. Okay. And I hate to be blunt, but it's just the truth. Okay. The money comes to the people who figured out how to raise capital. That's it. Okay. It doesn't matter how good or bad the deal is, because the people are investing with you. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through my journey of what I thought was going to get me to that, multi-million dollar capital raise, and the things that didn't work. Okay. And if you're doing these things, again, it's not your fault. It's not wrong. I'm just here to save you some time and point you in the right direction. So first thing that happens is we believe that we got to go to these networking events, because we go to these networking events, they're like gold, right? We're gonna go find all these people. We're gonna get a deal under contract. We're gonna host this webinar. And the reality of it is it doesn't quite work that way. So I'm going to share with you, look, I've got this box of business cards right here. Okay. And this is like my reminder. So when I first started in this multifamily space, I even had a coach that was part of the program. And the coach said, hey, the thing you're going to want to do, show up to these networking events, right? They were multifamily specific syndication, collect business cards. And when you have a deal, what's going to happen is you're going to, maybe 10, 20% of those people will invest in your deal. And so I went to these networking events. I got these business cards. They said, you need your investor database. I literally built an access database. I took it very literal. I have an IT background. And so I had all these people in my database. got this deal. It's a beautiful deal. And it really was a nice deal. And we hosted the webinar. And guess how many people actually invested in that deal from my list of all of my business cards? And I want to see this. Guess how many people, guess how much capital I raised on that first deal from a few hundred contacts I had from just going to those networking events. I'm going to see in the chat, like how much do you think I raised? To 100K. All right. There's one guess. The answer is no. Let me see another one. Who's got a guess on how much capital I raise? Some of you may already know the answer to this. If you do, zero. You're pretty close, Tina. You are pretty close. It's a little bit more than zero. Greg says zero. Anybody else got a guess? Anybody else got a guess of how much capital I raised in that first deal? The answer is I raised $50,000. I had a few hundred people in my database and I got $50,000. I had one person invest in that deal and I was like, oh man, I suck at this. And so I learned very quickly that just showing up to a networking event and getting business cards and putting them in a database does not mean you're going to be able to raise capital. Just because you have the right deal does not mean you're going to raise capital. Okay. I need you to, that's the really important concept for you to understand. And this is the cycle that happens. And this is what I want you to avoid. Just because you go to networking events does not mean you're going to raise capital. This is what's going to happen. You're going to get a deal under contract. You're going to have zero certainty. And I see people get stuck really stuck right here. You're going to have zero certainty that you can actually close a deal. It might even be holding you back from submitting an offer. It might even be holding you back from getting a deal under contract. And that happens, guys. And if you do, and you don't have the certainty, you're going to host a webinar and you're going to scramble to raise capital and you're going to reach out to other people and you're going to be stuck here and maybe you can get across the finish line. But I know multiple people who have just lost money, the money they put into a deal up front on one of these deals, and that's it. They're out. They're done. Okay. So I don't want that to happen to you. I'm going to show you how to fix this problem. Okay. But I'm just letting you know, just going to a networking event and getting cards and meeting a few people, that is not going to help you raise capital. Okay. So let's go to, oh, Tina, you're in that position now. I'm sorry to hear that, but let me see if I can get you unstuck. Okay. Um, yeah, and this, I'll just say this right here. I have also chatted with people who have said, look, I joined this, syndication program, guns a-blazing, it's fantastic. I've learned how to underwrite deals. I got flow coming from brokers, build the relationships. I'm too scared to submit an offer because I don't know if I can raise capital to close a deal. And that sucks. And you don't want to be in that position. You want to solve that problem, right? You want to move away from that. So, all right. Here is what I see mistake number 2 happen. Okay. This is what happened to me. A lot of people think this. You know what? The reason why I failed, this is what happened to me. The reason why I failed is because I didn't have, I'm going to say an online presence. If I had a website built and it was the right website, it was a very professionally built website, and it just showed what I do, and it just, people would believe in me. That's the reason why people aren't investing with me. So what I did is I, hired someone, came with a little bit of coaching, hired someone, and we recorded all this video, built this beautiful website, and then guess what happened? Got a deal under contract, hosted a webinar. Again, crickets, okay? Like it didn't matter that I was going to networking events. It didn't matter that I now had a website. That did not solve my problem for me at all, okay? Like these things work if you do it right, but in and of themselves, it doesn't work here. And so I made that mistake. I paid a bunch of money. We worked long and hard on this website, and I was busy. I was very busy, but I wasn't doing the right things to like really move the needle. Does any of you feel like that? Like you're busy, you're keeping yourself busy, but you're questioning, are these activities actually going to help me raise capital? Does anybody feel like that? Let me know. If that's you, just say yes in the chat. 100%. I'm very busy, but I don't know if I'm doing the right things. Okay. That is the problem that we get is like, I know I got to be doing something, but I don't know what to do. And this is the like, everybody's got a website. Everybody goes to networking events. That's what people tell me to do. But this is what happens. Okay. You will still struggle. I get people reach out to me a couple times a month. Hey, I've got a deal under contract. I can't raise any money. I don't know if I can raise any capital. They've been doing this, but they get stuck right here. Okay. So, all right. Constantly. George says constantly. Then we get to mistake number three. All right. The next thing is you're like, well, shit. I just need more eyeballs on this. Okay. So networking event it's a very one-to-one type approach. I've got a website. I'm showing up, professionally. People can believe in me. They're going to look me up. What do I do next? I need to get more eyeballs on me. So then we go to social media. And if you're anything like me, I put posts randomly on social media. You're like, you really feel like you're posting randomly on social media. How many of you absolutely love posting stuff on social media? You just look forward to it. You wake up in the you wake up in the morning, and you're like, I can't wait to post about my life on social media. Nobody, right? Yeah, yes, there are people out there who are doing it and people who are successful, but the vast majority of people, that's not what they want to do. They don't want to spend their time posting to social media. And there's so much noise on social media. Like, does it really get the eyeballs you're looking for? And again, right? So I spent another, I don't know, $7,000 on, social media course, and it taught me some things, but they were like tactics to go viral, but it didn't really solve my problem of how does it connect me with the right investors. Okay. So this is what happens. You're like, I'm busy going to networking events, but it doesn't really result in anything. I was busy. I spent a bunch of money on a website, right? That didn't really get me anything. I'm busy. Some of you may spend money on this, like posting stuff on social media. And I'm here to tell you, I did all these things and this is the same process. I just kept getting stuck. And I was like, this absolutely sucks. What is going on? I am so frustrated. So if you take the money I put into this syndication program, the time I spent, hopping on planes and going to networking events and meeting people, the money I spent on the coaching to just get a business website up, and then the money I spent on social media, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I spent a lot of money, doing all this. I'm probably 40, $50,000 in. And some of you might be thinking like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. But you guys know that just to get into one of these programs can be anywhere from, 25 to $40,000. You want a website that, is supposed to convert. So you're willing to pay a lot for it. And heck, man, if you want to do it right, maybe you're willing to spend some money on this, but it doesn't always work out that way. So you kind of get stuck in this cycle. And then I was like, no, there's got to be a better way. Okay. So what I just showed you, that was a hard way. Okay. How many of you, can I see a show of hands? How many of you feel like you're stuck in the hard way right now? You're just kind of like stuck, busy, stuck, spinning your wheels. All of those are things you've thought of. Maybe you've implemented some of those, but you just feel like you can't get off this damn hamster wheel. Like, man, like, like, what do I do? Do I quit? Because if I can't get this part figured out, like, what are my options? Because here's the other thing I'll tell you is if you figure out how to raise capital, the deals will come to you. I'm going to say that again. If you figure out how to raise capital, the deals will come to you. You've got to decide. You only have so many hours in a day. What are you going to be spending your time on? Are you going to be out there looking at deals? You're going to be out there building a relationship with brokers. You're going to be walking properties. You're going to be doing the asset management. And I get when you first get started, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? And it's kind of low hanging fruit to learn how to do underwriting. But the most valuable person on the team, what I have come to find is honestly the person who can raise capital. Imagine this. You go to these networking events and you're like, I focus on raising capital. People are going to pay attention because now they want you on their team. Okay. You will get more opportunities if you figure out how to raise capital than if you just focus on some of those other areas. Those other areas are important, The other thing too is I'll share with you is your single biggest limiting factor to you being able to achieve your goals as a syndicator, as someone raising capital. The single biggest limiting factor is your ability to raise capital. I promise you the deals are out there. We've been in a down market, but there are still deals that are getting done. We are basically at the bottom of the market. I can't tell you how long we're going to be here, how long we're going to like hang out at the bottom. If you can get this thing figured out now, sky's the limit. Like there are so many deals that are going to be coming over the next couple of years. If you can get into one of those, you're going to make a lot of money. So get this part figured out. Okay. This is really important. Okay. So that is the hard way. So I'm going to talk to you now about the easy way. Is that okay? Can I talk to you? Can I make life a whole lot easier for you? That don't make those mistakes. Like, let me break this down. Like, all right, that's the hard way. Those are the things I thought I should be doing. I'm gonna show you the easy way now. So what I had to do is, I was just like, what is going on? I don't know if I want to say I took a step back. I don't think it's really the right way to describe it, but I said, what is it I'm missing? And I started just really consuming everything I could when it came to the world of sales and marketing. People are out there selling stuff all day long. Like, what is it they're doing that I'm not? And that's really what I learned is that capital raising is not hard. You just don't know what you don't know. So it is sales and marketing. And when you do it the right way, and I'm going to show you here in just a minute, when you do it the right way, and you can set it up to be a lot of it be automated, things get so much easier. So that's the lessons I'm going to share with you. Okay. So years of making mistakes, tens of thousands of dollars in the education that I had to go through and the school of hard knocks. Okay. Now let me show you the easy way. So the first thing I want to talk about is there's basically three secrets I want you to think of when it comes to capital raising. Okay. There's three secrets I need you to understand. I want you to be open to changing your mindset. Okay. Secret number one, if you want to raise capital at scale, if you really want to scale this, okay, not necessarily always like these one-to-one conversations and showing up randomly to a networking event or hoping somebody shows up to your website, you have to build a capital raising funnel that will consistently attract investors. Secret number one. That's one of the things I learned. Okay. You need a capital raising funnel. And I'm going to show you what that is here in a little bit. Okay. But that is when I took this step back because I just, nobody was teaching this stuff in the syndication space. So the first secret I learned is that if you want to do it right and you want to scale it, you've got to build a capital raising funnel. Okay. Making sense? Here is secret number two. You also, okay, you do not need to be a marketing expert or tech savvy to raise millions of dollars. I promise you that. You do not need to be a marketing expert or tech savvy to raise millions of dollars. You definitely do not have to do that. It can be overwhelming if you try to do it alone, but if you've got the right system and process in place and the right support structure there to help you do it, it's actually not that hard. And the other thing too is success leaves clues. So there's a lot of breadcrumbs out there, and I'm literally gonna show you the exact process that you can follow and implement. I'm gonna show it to you right now, okay? And you don't have to be like as a tech savvy. You don't need to be an IT expert in the world of, and a marketing expert to make it happen. And secret number three is, okay, the market, any competition that's out there or lack of investor connections can't stop you. These are stories I used to tell myself, oh, the market's rough right now. Nobody's going to invest. There's so much competition and people would rather invest with somebody else rather than invest with me. And, that's just really going to be something that holds you back. But here's the truth, guys. Investors, they are actively looking for better opportunities. People are investing all day long everywhere, okay? Your job is to get in front of them and build that trust. Okay. The problem is most capital raisers just don't have a system to capture their attention and build trust. Okay. There's really the three secrets that I've learned along the way. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over and I'm going to show you what that looks like when you put it into action. And you're going to see some common things, right? We were just talking about. And I said they don't really work, but it's if you don't put them together in the right way. So now what I want to do is I want to show you the right way to raise capital. And this is a funnel. And this might be, a new concept to you. But it's actually pretty easy, and I'm here to help you make it very easy. Okay. So we have to look at this, what we call a funnel. And this is marketing and sales, and the funnel, I'm going to walk you through it. But basically the funnel is we got to get people's attention. We got to educate and warm them up. And then we have to have a way to actually convert them. And those steps are pretty straightforward. I'm going to walk you through that right now. So the first thing we have is this what we call the top of funnel. Okay. I'm making you a marketing expert in the next 5 minutes. Okay. Marketing and sales expert in the next 5 minutes. So the first thing we have is what we call the top of funnel. And so you'll see, hey, guess what? Here's a networking event. But we're going to make it very intentional with the networking event. Build an online presence. This could be your website, but we're going to make it very intentional, the things we do with that website. Social media, I mentioned that too, but we're going to make it very intentional what we do with social media. More important than anything is you need to start establishing yourself as an authority. People need to see you as a trusted authority in the space. Okay. So let me give you a quick example here. There was one of my students in this investor pipeline program we have, been working with her for a little bit now and building a very specific funnel to follow. She attended a networking event last week. She left that networking event, followed the exact steps in the process, and she sent me a text message. I should show it to you guys. I don't know how easy it is to show, but she sent me a text message. She left that event, continued to work on the steps that we implemented. She had a $500,000 commitment from that one event. So the networking event, it's you got to know how to build the pieces in the right steps, the process you follow. Okay. I'll tell you right now, she is not a marketing expert. She is not tech savvy. She just implemented what I told her to implement, followed those steps, and she was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this. So imagine having a process where you go to a networking event and you have something to follow and you start getting those types of commitments. Okay. So we have to have a way to meet new people. Okay. So the networking is good if you do it right. The social media presence is good if you do it right, but you've got to be able to do this. Okay. And she was able to walk into that networking event. And I said, how did you introduce yourself? She said, I introduced myself as a capital raiser. And the rest is history. Okay. So getting people to notice you and pay attention. Then we have to move them to the next step. We're not just jumping into a deal. Does that make sense? We're going to move them down to the next step. The next step of this is what we call the middle of funnel. The middle of funnel, this is where we really start to build trust with people. This is where we create basically a lot of educational content. And so this is where we do education. Because imagine there's a whole world of people out there, like everybody invests. 401k is traditionally what most people do. Some people have other things, right? We all hear about crypto or other things. There's all these alternative investments, but you got to get their attention. And then, most people aren't very knowledgeable in this space. And the reason why somebody wouldn't invest is because they don't know you, like you, or trust you, or maybe they also don't understand the process. So once you get them in the door, this is what differentiates you from everybody else. This is that I'm going to save you 10 years of pain and I'm going to save you tens of thousands of dollars. Once somebody gets in the door, you have to start doing these things. And so you start doing recurring webinars. Okay. Maybe you have some type of online community where people, get to see you more often, more frequently. You've got some email nurturing that can go on, but your goal here is to provide education. Just provide education so that people can be like, oh, you're showing up consistently. People start to get bite-sized pieces of what it looks like if they were to invest with you, and they build that trust. So this is that middle of funnel. And we're moving people through those steps. Okay. Recurring webinars, this also can be in-person events. So I also was working with someone and they said, you know what, I want to do an in-person event. Cool. Guess what? We got a process for that. Have a very specific funnel for that. Went through that. And right after that event was over, they said, hey, guess what? I just got a $50,000 commitment for the next deal. Okay. So here's another secret is raise capital before you have a deal. Okay. So by running the event, by having something like this, by providing education, it's a way for you to get those commitments. But you got to keep moving people through the process. So the next thing you do is you always have to have what we call a call to action, and that is you move someone to the next step. I like to think of it like imagine you're literally reaching out to someone and holding their hand and like inviting them, hey, you know what, let me take you over here, let me help you get across this bridge. And I like to call it the trust bridge. Let me help you get across that bridge. We'll get you over to the next step. So the next thing we have here is what we call the bottom of the funnel. And the bottom of the funnel, this is where your goal here is to get a warm commitment. And a warm commitment is where somebody gives you a commitment to invest a dollar amount before you ever have a deal. You might be thinking, well, how the hell do I do that? Like how can I get somebody to invest, give me a commitment to invest in a deal? I don't even have a deal. Well, there's a very specific way. And that this is a game changer. Once I learned how to have this conversation, everything changed for me. Now I've got a process to get people, into a conversation. Now I've got a process to start educating them. And now I get to work them into a conversation where I'm like, hey, this is what apartment investing looks like. Or maybe you're doing some other type of investing. Maybe it's storage. Maybe it's triple net. Maybe it's something like that. Okay. I spoke with someone yesterday. They said, hey, you know what? Well, I'm going to be buying some small banks. Okay. Doesn't really matter. But when you learn how to have the conversation the right way, you make it really easy so that you know how to get these appointments set up. You learn how to have this conversation in a one-to-one or one-to-many. And then you get this. So one of the missing pieces, if you think about those other steps, the other processes, like there was none of that. I met you, invest in a deal. I met you, invest in a deal. I think you can start to see what the difference is here. So, these stories I'm telling you of success of other people in the program, it's because they've learned how to implement these steps. And just by having this, right? How was someone able to get a warm commitment is because I had a process for it. They had a destination for someone to show up and a way to walk them through what that conversation looks like for someone to say, yeah, sounds great. I would like to invest with you in your next deal. Please let me know when you have that opportunity. Okay. This is what we call the bottom of the funnel. This is where we do the conversion. Is this making sense, guys? Is this helpful? Can I see in the chat really quick? Just give me a yes if it's helpful. Yes, if it's making sense. If you got any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We will answer them along the way. George, good. I am glad it is helping you out. All right. So we're not quite done yet, guys. The next thing you need to do in your process, because remember, we don't have a deal yet. We're just getting people excited. We're getting them warmed up. But we don't want them to lose steam. We don't want them to lose any excitement. So what we do here is now we get into this nurturing, okay? So we have to kind of speak high level at first, get people warmed up to the idea. Where we talk, about what their goals are and what that would look like if they were to invest in a deal. But now we got to get them comfortable. So what we find is that most people that say, yes, I'd like to invest, but then don't, could be timing, but a lot of time it's because they have some level of uncertainty. So you got to do more education here. And so we continue to do some more email automations. This is great. This is where it happens automatically. Run some more webinars, a little bit deeper education there. And start talking about the deals that you have going on. So if you're just underwriting deals or you partner with some people who are underwriting deals, you share that information. You let them know that you're serious about this and that you are committed. That is huge. People want to be like, oh my gosh, like I keep seeing George all the time. He's super serious or Jessica, man, she's on fire. Like, she's really taking this seriously. Maybe I should start paying attention to this. Okay. So you continue to, after you get that warm commitment, you still do some nurturing. And what's great about this is you build these things, you build them once, and they just kind of move people along, or you give people a little nudge, and you get to, just leverage the system doing a lot of the work for you. Now, let me show you where, if you do these things, how it makes a huge difference. What happens next is, imagine having a deal where, after you've implemented something like this, you get a deal under contract, you notify investors, you host a webinar. What are the chances you're going to scramble for money? I mean, back at this stage right here, we've just gained visibility. I know I can raise 2 million. I know I can raise 5 million. I know I can raise $500,000 because people have told me I can submit that offer with confidence because I got people who already said they would invest. Okay. So you get to this point down here where you've got a deal. I got a deal under contract. I notify my investors, I host a webinar, and you're not scrambling. Is that making sense, guys? Can you see the difference there? Can you see where, like, oh, I just did this one thing, and then, like, I got this deal. I don't know if I can raise capital. It's really uncomfortable. This is why I'm scrambling. I'm telling you, that's why you're scrambling. It's because you don't have those few steps set up to get people hot and ready and keep them warm and get them into a deal. Is that making sense, guys? Okay. That's it. It's actually a very simple process once you learn it. But I've got a stack of books I've read, tons of webinars I've read, a hole in my pocket from lessons I've learned along the way. Okay. So, like I said, my goal really was to help save you guys a ton of time and a ton of money, and know what you need to do to actually build something the right way. Like, what are the steps you need to take here? Okay. So, here's the thing is, I know that, you might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed with this. Hey, Stephen, this is great information, but I'm a little bit overwhelmed. If you're open to it, I can show you exactly how we can help you get something like this implemented, and actually get you up and running pretty quick. Okay. So are you guys cool if I show you that right now? Can I see in the chat? Yes. I always like to ask for permission before I offer to show you something like that. So George says yes. Tina says yes. Okay. So here's what I want to show you guys. If you want help getting something like this set up, build a predictable investor pipeline engine, I'm going to walk you through what that looks like right now. Okay. So you want to raise capital for multifamily deals before you ever find a deal. Very, very, very important. Okay. So most people get stuck. Most investors get stuck because they try to find deals first, and then they scramble to raise capital. And probably some of you have experienced that already, and it's a pretty crappy place to be in. This investor pipeline engine, it totally flips that whole process upside down on its head. Okay. So it helps you build that system that's really going to help you attract investors and nurture them before you ever have a deal. So I'm going to walk you through the steps that we use, the frameworks we used to help people build this investor pipeline engine. Okay. So the first thing that's really important here is we help you get yourself in a position of authority, okay, in creating content that shows you as a trusted person in the space. When you do that, your content is very intentional. It's not just random crap, okay? And I don't mean that in the wrong way, but if you don't know what you don't know, your message isn't resonating with the right people. And most people make the mistake like, oh, I just need to talk about, the multifamily stuff. But your ideal investor probably doesn't lay in bed at night thinking, oh man, if I just had somebody talk to me about investing in apartments, it would solve my problems. I could sleep better at night. That's not what keeps them up. So we have to learn how to resonate with that right person in the right way to solve the right problem, to alleviate their pain. Okay. There's a very specific way we do that. Okay. So the first thing we do is work very closely with you. Who is that ideal person that you're looking for that you can identify with, love to have conversations with, get you in conversations where you have a very casual, tell me more about you type of a thing. And it opens up the door to let's get you on to the next step. So then what we do is we set you up with, remember, I was showing you in that funnel. um the secret here is getting those appointments set and getting people warmed up and getting people onto that call. So we set up a very specific process for you. Think of it like a little funnel to get those book calls from real people. Okay. So we're finding people here to connect with, and then we're getting these people to get into book calls. Then we have a very specific framework from there, right? Hey, Steven, I got these people on a call. Now what? I don't know what the hell to say. Don't worry. I got you. Okay. We teach you how to run this exact conversation, the scripts, the pitch decks, the pre-framing, everything that we do before they ever get in a call with you so that they're actually pretty warmed up. Okay. And then you start to have real conversations and you're getting these commitments before you ever have a deal. Okay. Just these three things alone. What would that do for you if you just had this? If you just had those three things set up, how would that change things for you? It'd be a game changer, right? But it doesn't stop there. While we're getting all this built and implemented for you, at the same time, we're getting this built for you. The whole funnel system to build a predictable system to attract and nurture investors. Okay. So you're getting real conversations with real people, getting these warm commitments, and a way to get more people outside of your network and get them committed and keep them warm. The other thing that I love to do, I love to offer to people is sometimes getting into that first deal or maybe that second deal can be a little bit hard. What I love to do to help you all be successful is I offer the opportunity to actually partner, right? For you guys to come partner with me on a deal. Okay. So we've got this right now where we have a deal raising capital for, and we got some people in the group who guess what? 30, 60 days from now, they are going to be a fund manager. They're going to be in their first deal and they've got real investors in a deal. Once you get that first deal, guys, everything changes. Everything changes. You walk a little taller, right? You got a little more confidence when you walk into a room because now you really are the multifamily investor you set out to be. Your story changes. Hey, I've got this deal. So if that's something that I can offer to help you out and accelerate that, I absolutely love to do that. Give you the opportunity to come partner with me on a deal, help raise capital, and get your name out there. So we do those. Those are our frameworks we help you implement. And then also along with this is we help you actually build a whole funnel for getting people into a deal. Okay. So now I've got a deal. What's that funnel look like to get people to show up to the webinar and convert them as well? So we've got this whole process, the whole framework in and of itself. So everything we have there is supported by our raisegenius.ai CRM. And there's coaching that goes along with it. So you get a full CRM and funnels, multiple funnels built, automations, workflows. You get a community. It's a fantastic community, guys. And accountability with other people and live weekly coaching. So there's a whole bunch we do for you to help you be successful. So remember I said you don't have to be tech savvy. You don't have to be a marketing expert. Guess what? My team and I are going to help you get this set up and get it implemented. And what I want you to do is show up, be open and willing to learn, and just have phone calls and have fun and start raising capital. Okay. We do the heavy lifting. We do that part for you so that you can be successful. A little bit more about what that looks like. Okay. So we like to run people through like a 6-week accelerator. It's the best way we can get you set up for success very quickly. So we do a 6-week accelerator. And in the first week, we really dive into the first couple of weeks to find your investor avatar and honestly help you launch that authority platform that we talked about. Then we work very closely with you and we build that investor pipeline system and automation. Okay. So we need a little bit of direction from you, but we're honestly, guys, we're doing the heavy lifting for you. Okay. We make it really easy for you. And I promise you, here's my promise to you. If you show up and you do the things we're asking you to do, okay, which is basically just show up and learn how to have a conversation with people, In the first probably 30 days, you're going to start raising capital. You will start getting those warm commitments before you ever have a deal. But it's just because you start implementing the right things. Okay. So again, you get all these pieces, to help you be successful. What we do is we help you build a qualified investor network, a very qualified people. You know exactly how much capital you can raise before you have a deal. You have a repeatable system for investor conversations. And that's what's great about it is you just know, like, okay, I met this person, where are they at? I just plug them in here, or I plug them in here, or I plug them in here, and it just moves them through the right spot. Okay. And then it changes everything for you. It puts you in the position to participate in multifamily deals or a type of other syndication. It doesn't really matter, but it gives you that confidence, guys. Okay. So that is how we help people. That is how we change lives. That is how we get people unstuck. And so we do that. That's our investor pipeline engine. So if you're interested in just learning more, okay, if you're interested in learning more and seeing if it's a good fit for you, I want to invite you guys onto a call with me, one-on-one call with me. And literally, here's what we're going to do. We're take a look at what your goals are, where you're at, where you're trying to be, and where you're struggling. Okay. And we'll give you a roadmap of, if you do these things, this is going to get you unstuck. And if you think the program's the right fit for you, fantastic. And if you're not ready, then that's cool, but you're going to walk away with having more clarity than you have right now. And that is my goal, and that is my commitment to you. So in just a moment, we will get a link in the chat for this. But also you can go ahead and scan this QR code, and it's going to allow you to just go ahead and book a spot with me. Okay. About an hour long commitment. Like I said, it's a no pressure call. I just want to see people be successful. I want to help people. I know how hard it is to get this figured out. The other thing I'll add here is what you get in this program is you hang out in the program for a whole year. Okay. So not only do we do the 6 weeks, what happens after that? You hang out in the program for a whole year. We get everything set up. We got other frameworks that are there and available to be implemented, but we want to see you be successful quickly. And that's what we do. We've worked through this multiple times. We know what it takes. We get people raising capital quickly. And then you get to hang out for a year. Okay. If you make this commitment to join, I promise you, not only 6 weeks from now will you be a different person. Imagine what your life would be like a year from now. If you just got started, what would that change for you? If you made the decision to move forward and actually implement something like this, okay? What would that change for you? If you're struggling, you don't have to. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause for a little bit, and I'm going to see, what kind of questions do you all have? What kind of questions do you have? Anything about the capital raising process? Heck, man, even anything about the program. Is it a good fit for you? What is your time commitment? What questions do you guys have? Real quick, while you're thinking about questions, because I know it's a lot of information, share with me in the chat. Is this helpful for you guys? I want to see you be successful. Is this helpful? This type of training, these opportunities. I'm gonna check. I want to check one thing here really quick. Okay, I'm gonna leave that right there. So that's what we've got, guys. This is the opportunity for you guys to figure it out, right? Start raising some capital for your deals. Let me see in the chat, those of you that are hanging out here. How many deals do you guys want to do this year? Right? You want to do one deal, two deals? Okay. Yep. George, I see. Yes, we do have a call on Tuesday. As far as the cost goes, we got a couple of different options. We can just go through that on the call. One deal per quarter. I love it. I love it. I absolutely think you can do it. We'll learn more about where you're currently at and what your goals are and what your network looks like today. Gotcha. All right. Yep, Greg, we got you, man. And I see that we have our call scheduled. So um we can cover more of that. But I'll talk a little bit more. Let's see. I'll talk a little bit more about the program in and of itself. We have a couple calls every week. And we meet with you one-on-one. The first 6 weeks, meet with you one-on-one. You get to participate also in our weekly calls. And so one-on-one, you're basically like you show up, we give you some homework, you give us some information, and then we go build some more stuff, and we give you a little bit more homework, and then we meet, we give you a little bit of training, and then we go build a little bit more. So we have a pretty specific schedule we follow during those first 6 weeks. And then what we do is on those Tuesday, Thursday calls, those are a chance for you to network with other people. You get access to a private community, and we do like these get unstuck calls to help you get unstuck. We do tech Tuesdays to get a little bit deeper, depending on what you're working on. And then we also teach on other frameworks that go along with this to enhance. So for example, we have a lead magnet framework, or we have a webinar framework, or we have a meetup framework, or we have a presentation framework that we go through. There's multiple frameworks that we go through to help you implement all of these things and be more successful. But what we do is we focus on what's going to move the needle for you first. It's like, think of it like building a house, okay? Like you can't show up and decorate the living room if the concrete foundation hasn't been poured. So we really first start with that foundation and what's going to move the needle. Then we do the framing, and then, we put everything on the outside, put on the roof, and we just layer these things on, and then eventually you have this beautiful system, and you're up and running, and you're independent. So that's what we focus on here. My question is from Jessica: we've all invested in REI and spent money. I guess I'm wondering, how does that coincide with the curriculum? Thanks. And also, yes, I wanted to know about pricing. So Jessica, we have a couple different options when it comes to that, and I would just say hop on a call, schedule the call, and we can discuss what makes the most sense for you and where you're at. Um, I'm wondering, how does that coincide with their curriculum? Oh, I think you're talking about like REI Accelerator, probably. So I'll tell you, I have a couple people in my program right now from REI Accelerator. And if that's what you're talking about. Um, and so it actually works out really good because REI Accelerator is really good about helping you find the deals and making those relationships, okay? And even finding other people to work with. So that is where REI Accelerator really shines. What I'm finding is, and here's what I'm understanding is, um, the REI Accelerator may have an option for them to help fund one of your deals. I think, right? I'm not part of that group. So, um, what what you want, I'll be completely honest, like what you ultimately want is to be as independent as possible when it comes to raising capital. I'm just saying this from experience. Partners will come and go. There will be good days and bad days, and you over time, the one person that you can really depend on is you. That's just the reality of it, okay? So what I'm teaching you to do is, I think what REI Accelerator is doing is great. Like that is really good information. What I'm doing is filling that gap of, how do I raise capital? Like, this is cool, I can find deals, but how do I raise capital? So the story remains the same with REI Accelerator. Like all of that is really important, and it helps you, show yourself as an authority and identify with the right person. And it helps you understand deals. What I do is I take some pressure off of you, like, oh, I've got to go find these deals. I take a lot of pressure off of that aspect, and I show you how to raise capital so that you can add even more value. So think of me as the accelerator to the accelerator. How's that? I'm going to help move the needle for you a whole lot faster. Okay. That's really what it boils down to. Because so I was in a program called Sumrock, or Apartment Investing Mastery, is through a mentor called Brad Sumrock. I have worked with people from Multifamily Mindset. I know there's the Rod Khalif out there. There's Ari Mentor. I have worked with people from multiple different syndication masterminds. There's this common thread of, there's this big gap of when it comes to like, how the hell do I raise capital? What are the things I need to do? What are the systems and processes that need to be put in place there? So think of that as like a bolt-on system to help you fill that void. And Greg says he agrees. So probably you agree, Greg, with that, like the void that's there. And I don't think that's on purpose. I just think that it's a lot easier to focus on like finding the deals and underwriting it. It's most people are comfortable with that. Less people are comfortable with the capital raising side. And I tell you, like, I have worked with people from multiple programs. It is a universal thing. And so again, I'll go back to it. Like, if you're struggling, it's not your fault. There is nothing you're doing wrong. It's not that there's information that's there and you're like just not getting it. I have just found that it's just really not there. And again, I'll go back to, I had to get out of this syndication space and go learn different strategies and techniques. And that's when all these light bulbs started clicking on for me. So again, I'll save you years, like so many years worth of time. And my team's on, they can attest to that. Like there's things we've done that honestly haven't worked. And there's things we've done that have worked really good. One of the cool things about being part of the program is we're always trying new things out. So we bring to you what works, but we're out there like testing the waters on things. And as something new, like, hey, this thing works really good, we bring it to the group. Right? We are always adding new value into the group. Again, our goal is to see you guys be successful. So, all right, these are fantastic questions. I appreciate them coming in. Does anybody have any other questions? We're just about out of time here. So I want to be respectful of that. I don't want to make you guys stay too late. All right, well, I don't see any more questions coming in. I appreciate you showing up, being engaged. We will continue to do, we got these other webinars we do on Thursdays where we give you some actionable things, go do this. But I always like to give you guys the opportunity to understand the process better. And for those of you that are ready, just book a call. And see if it's the right fit for you. And if you really, really want to move the needle, let's do it. Let's get you in and let's solve some problems for you, okay? All right, guys, you've been a great audience. I appreciate your time. Those of you that are booking calls, I will speak with you soon. I'm excited to help you get this implemented. And there's some of you who might be a little bit scared, like, I don't know, I don't know if I can, pay for this. I'm gonna ask you this question. Can you afford not to? All right, you already spent a bunch of money on another program. Can you afford not to get this problem figured out? Okay, I would leave you with that. Just what is the cost of not getting this figured out? Okay, because again, if you get this figured out, you will pay for your programs 10 times over. Okay, change your life. All right, guys, I will chat with you. If nothing else, I'll chat with you next week, and I'll see you guys in the school community. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, everyone.